Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. We start this week with the biggest piece of news to affect the community, because it affects damn near everyone in it, and also me specifically, and that's important. But more than that, you can help out with this problem. And yes, I do mean you. Yugipedia, the community-run wiki, has been shut down due to a critical error. After mistakenly removing a drive from the server that was thought to be safe to remove, it turned out that super secret oops, it was not safe to remove in the slightest at all. And the site has been dead with the last backup for it being 3 years old. The admins have apologized and are working on fixing it as you're watching this as of the day I put it out. As to why there wasn't a more recent backup? Well, they didn't realize the drive was being used. So why back up what is not in use or of use at all? It's a simple error, albeit a critical one. The good news is, if you go to Yugipedia right now, they have a tool that will scan the cache of your browser, and just looking at your browser to be clear, to see if you visited a page that can help recover the data from that visited page from. So, if you've used Yugipedia, it does not take very long at all and can help the site get back in action. Or if you use Yugipedia excessively, it might take you a little while, I won't lie. There are means to help it go faster, keeping the tab open, yada yada. It's all explained on the Yugipedia page, but for the majority of people, it won't take too long, I imagine, and it can help get that site up and back in action. That site is significantly better than the Wikia page bullshit alternative. Loads and runs smoother, actually has up-to-date text on cards, and best of all is usable in mobile form. Good God. I just want to be able to make videos with ease, and this is specific to me, but the Wikia saves as WebP, whereas Yugipedia is PNG. If I have to convert another WebP file into a usable thing to put into Premiere, I'm pulling out this bad boy. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I hate WebPs. Why? I hate that image format. Fuck that. Okay, that being said, shush. That being said, it's important to the community, and it's something you can do to help out. So by all means, do your part. Be a hero, and help us save Yugipedia. From meta news, it was another weekend of regionals this past week in Yu-Gi-Oh! With a seemingly diversifying meta. There are a lot of decks out here getting tops at the regional level. I'm talking dinosaur decks, Marincess decks showing up in Louisiana, Punk at the same event as well, showing that Synchro Spam is reliable as ever. For the Punk deck, it ran Pure and abused Psychic and Punisher as Punk's one and true boss monster, while the Dinosaur deck ran seemingly identical ratios to what it has been since it, got miskit to 1. As for Marincess, no, I'm not going to pretend I know this deck at all. I don't have a clue what these cards do or anything beyond Coral Anemone having a water lock. I do know that Zealantis is pretty crazy in Marincess because of Coral Anemone's water lock, so I'm guessing that pops up. And as for the main deck ratios of this Marincess deck, is Silent Sea Nettle a new addition? Nettle? Is that the right way to even say it? I don't even know. I don't even know how to say these cards' names, and they aren't even that complex, let alone understand what it is they're doing in a Marincess deck. So there it is, Marincess and Marinsos, and that's what did well this past week at the regional level. From last week, there's still Mathmech popping up as well in the odd top 8, and with another Mathmech getting a win for first at a regional, beating out a Sun Avalon deck, which ended up getting second. The Mathmech deck seemed pretty standard, and Sun Avalon was running the Adventure engine, since that is still very reliable and also playable. All in all, the top cuts for these events is at the very least diverse, and if that's your cup of tea, you can go ahead and enjoy that. Although Branded and Kashtira are both still popping up frequently, as are old format staples, including a number of Sprite variants. Tri-Brigade Sprite is a popular choice, and the likes of Sprite Melfi has topped as well. Plus, there's still the standard same main deck as always with Nimble Beaver and the like, just all with no elf. The deck is definitely still a reliable one, it's just a question of what variant will show itself as the top dog of Sprite decks. It's safe to assume the best variant will show itself at the next YCS, that being YCS Lima in Peru. Might be Runic Sprite, might be Tri-Sprite, maybe Gishki Sprite will have a guy play it that just doesn't brick. Maybe the messiah of Gishki Sprite will show up in Peru. Who knows? And while there's been plenty of decks showing up at regionals, this is going to be another good look at the higher tiered level of this game. We can't be certain what deck will win, but if I were a betting man, I have no idea. I'm just going to say Branded wins. It's no particular reason. I think everyone kind of sees Cash Tier as the best deck, and South American YCSs like to throw a wrench into things, with them being the only place where non-Ishizu Tier 1 in tier format. So Branded's going to win because it's Cash Tier format. So that's my guess. We'll find out if I'm right this weekend, and I'll own up to it or deny it entirely in next week's update. This week also saw huge news for tournament policy updates, and by huge I of course mean people had a huge reaction. There's been some simple rule updates that make sense and most everyone can agree on. Take too long to hand in the end of round slip declaring who won can mean game loss for you. It's stop wasting time, just hand in the end of match slip so we can get the, pairings for the next round. Why are you wasting time? I don't understand. Or, the fact that if you lie to a judge about not having received a penalty previously in the event when you did, that's cheating. I also have no idea why you're trying. They keep records of that shit. If you're pulling this maneuver, I do not understand your end goals, and I do believe that you're an idiot. That's just, why else are you trying that? And most eye-catchingly on Twitter, of course, was the update to the unsporting conduct, because intentionally misgendering your opponent carries the same weight as using a slur against them or physically assaulting them, which is fine. The basic code here just says don't be a dick to people, and deliberately misgendering them is just being a dick. Am I just playing this game wrong in how I communicate to my opponents? I don't really take note or care about the gender of who I'm playing. The only instance their gender even comes up in conversation is if a judge is called and I'm explaining the game state, and then, maybe I assume incorrectly, and it's oh yeah, I activated B, and she chained A, and it's no, my pronouns are he, and it's oh, I'm sorry about that, I activated B, he chained A. And that's the extent of it. That's all it is. And the judge and, the person whom you've misgendered can clearly see that you made a mistake, and you just say, oh, apologies, my bad, sorry about that, whatever, and you move on. Because it's a 40-minute match, and even if for whatever fucking reason the existence of someone using different gendered pronouns than you assume is the single most infuriating thing you've ever encountered in your life, if for some reason that's the hill you choose to die on, you just be polite to them for 40 minutes and you move on with their life. And your life, and everyone. You can forget about them completely. I can't tell you how many people I've faced in this game that I don't remember at all, because I don't care about the people too much. No disrespect to anyone. I just want to duel. I care about the deck they're playing, and whether or not I opened Nibiru, and whether or not I understand my own combo lines. Who gives a fuck what they identify as? It doesn't affect you, and it's not that big a deal. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely out of line. This is apparently a big thing for people, and my lack of using pronouns is either unprecedented or, once again, people are just being stupid on the internet. I wonder which is more likely. Either way, this is what upset the community at large, and that's what I get to talk about. I love game. Other changes include what you can be penalized for outside of tournaments, however, and that is actually more interesting to me. Namely things like cyberbullying, or making content online, targeting and harassing others, being on the sex offender list, or admitting to cheating after an event. All are bannable, suspendable offenses, which, for those I completely agree with. If you're advocating for there to be more sex offenders playing Yu-Gi-Oh, you can just tell us you play witchcrafters. We'll make we'll make the logical conclusion. But in all seriousness, the two things that I caught eye of that are mostly, well, one really. The one that I thought was interesting was if you're found to have a criminal record, if you've done jail time in some capacity, you can be suspended from play. And it's well, isn't going to jail the punishment for your crime? Really, like if 12 years ago you got busted for marijuana because it was illegal at the time, and now you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And they're like, fuck you entirely, no criminals allowed. It's like, really? Now, granted, it all depends on how it'll be enforced. I just think that's a bit of a strange one. I understand if, like, he murdered 28 people, we don't want him in the, the convention arena. Yeah, understandable. I understand why we don't want that type of person in, but it's all very vague. Sort of like the one about making threats. You are no longer allowed to make threats. Which, what does that mean? I understand that, I'm going to kill you is not something you're allowed to say to the opponent. That's not very polite. That's pretty rude. You don't say that to them. But I make threats all the time. I stare my opponent dead in the eye and tell them, I'm going to Nibiru you. And that is a threat. Although I guess I could argue it's a promise. Maybe I don't have Nibiru. Maybe I'm not going to do it this match. Maybe I'm not going to do it this duel. Maybe I'm not going to do it this turn. You don't know when, but I'm telling you now, you are getting fucking Nibiru'd. That I can assure you. Am I allowed to say that? Is that a threat? Am I serious about this? You tell me. Who knows? If I make my voice high-pitched enough, can you understand that even said, without too much sarcasm in the sentence itself, it's meant to be applied? Viewers, do the commenters know? Are we Dzeef fans or not here in YGO Strats Nation? I have lost the train of thought entirely. The point is, these new updates do explain why people such as Distant Coder and Tatsum had been banned, as namely reporting on leaked or unapproved, content is a now bannable offense for players, which does affect me and this channel in a genuine way, because I would like to play at tournaments, so I guess I'm no longer ever going to report on anything leaked. Not that I ever have before, don't go scrubbing through my channel. Thanks, Konami. In product news, we had reveals for both new dinosaur support from the upcoming Series 12 booster set Duelist Nexus, the set to come out after Cyberstorm Access, as well as the last archetype from the Duelist Pack Wild Survivors, all getting their effects revealed. Or most of them. I've covered both of these this week in new card reports if you'd like a rundown of each new card, and you can check them out in the links I've applied like here or wherever. Or you can stay and watch this video, which is only like halfway done. How much Yu-Gi-Oh news is there? That's what I ask every goddamn week. Matter of fact, you can also stay tuned for a new card report tomorrow about new Infernobles, because it's just that time of the year apparently. Either way, the update continues. It's a dummy busy week for Master Duel as well. We start first with the new Selection Pack, bringing the game some new Crystal Beasts, some new Gem Knights, and the Ishizu cards. Yeah, those Ishizu cards. They're also preemptively semi-limiting Keldo, Adgido, and Kelbeck, because it's gonna happen eventually, I guess. Shame, full power isn't gonna be a thing, but also, thank God full power won't be a thing, whatever your take on that is. We don't have tier limits yet, but that will be a problem in Master Duel, worry not. There was also a sponsored stream by streamer and YouTuber Ludwig this week, wherein he played Dark Magician, and I tuned in just in time to see him get absolutely fucking destroyed by Sprite in a duel. It was amazing. It was the part of the 1-year anniversary celebrating the game, and let me tell you, when he visibly read the talking points and said that it was fun and that it was more fun when you win after visibly not caring for getting absolutely fucking clapped by Sprite, I was sold immediately. I started playing the game immediately. I was like, that's what it's about. Confused and somewhat disinterested streamers shilling it out for the money. My God, what could be more pure? And I'm sure most of his audience loved it as well, and did the exact same that I had. Definitely won't be an influx of some amount of people parroting the same brain-dead Yugi Boomer takes, because Ludwig was unironically playing fucking Dark Magician against Sprite, and that went exactly as it's always going to go. I love it. I love it! More notably, for the 1-year anniversary, was the full roster of players for the Invitational taking place today, if you were watching this video on the day it debuted, featuring all sorts of content creators. Truly big content creators such as Saikuno and Fusli. Yeah, I'm going food. There's no shot. I meant to say fussly. I should have double checked this, but I'm going with my gut, god damn it. Sykkuno and Fusli, as well as prominent community members in the Yugi tubing sphere, such as Team APS's Paul and Konami representative Douglas Zeef. And competitive players as well, such as, Pac, the guy who's probably going to win the event if I had to guess. Or he's going to play something fun and just do incredibly well regardless. The full roster is seen, here. I've not covered everyone, but there are plenty of people of interest for you to check out, whether it's an established creator you already like or someone new that you might want to give a chance and find a new favorite. The power of online, interconnectivity. It's a beautiful thing. These events will be starting as early as 10 a.m. PST if you are interested, and it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. And I guess I'll report on that next week. Otherwise, you can enjoy watching it yourself. In community news, we start with another creator announcing a tournament series. Farfa plans to hold an event he's calling the Last Card Standing, or LCS, because any attempt to replace LCS out of League of Legends and remove that game from pop culture and the world in general would make it a better place, so I fully support the name. These will be Master Duel tournaments held weekly, exclusively for Farfa's Twitch subs and patrons only, with the caveat being that the best decks and even staples from the previous week tournaments will all be banned for the following event. So out of the gate, Maxi, Access Code Talker, and Tickboo were all banned, as well as everything to do with decks Sprite, Mathmech, Branded, Burning Abyss, Rocket, Runic, Spiral, Sword Soul Tri-Brigade, and Lyrilisk, as well as Live Twins. All banned out of the gate. It sounds neat, so if you already give Farfa money, I'm sure it'll be a blast. Or maybe if you've been debating about giving Farfa money, this could be the final push to get you an access to a little bit of a fun and different way to play Master Duel. Or you can not do any of that and not care, and I don't care whether or not you do. I'm just saying it exists if you are interested. Regardless, I'm sure it'll be fun to watch, so I'm not going to complain. Also this week was the closure of the YGOanon Twitter account. It's not deleted, it's just no longer active. It's still there if you'd like to go see the monument to our community's sins. The owner and manager of the account simply decided to stop running it. Reportedly, they felt that too many people were getting too angry about it to an unhealthy degree. And if I know anything, it's two things. One, it's that this is the internet and people don't know how to operate in a healthy manner in any capacity for any topic in any regard. So while I'm not saying that she was wrong, I'm just saying, yeah, I think that's kind of the thing, isn't it? And the second is that someone else is going to remake it. And would you look at that, the community's own Sebto360 has announced that he will be making the replacement account with permission from the original creator, if that matters to you. So he's doing his due diligence. I support that. So fear not, endless Max C debates and relentless horny posting will continue. And while I'm sure there are other takes frequently enough from that account and that's not all that is all I ever seem to see of it. What does that say about the people I follow? I don't know. I don't know. Either way, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anonymous Twitter account is now a thing, here to replace YGO Anonymous. All that changes stays the same, such as this segue to the sponsor. Such as this segue to our sponsor. Thanks as always to the LIFD Magnetic Display, a great, safe, and flashy way for you to support this channel and show off your favorite cards. Or confuse guests by leaving it empty. Why is that there? Why are you here? Hopefully to save yourself 15% by using YGO Strats 15 as the promo code or by clicking the link in the description. Thanks as always to LIFD for the support, and thanks to you for watching. And so that'll wrap it up for this week's update. As always, I'm your host Craig Fee. Thanks for watching a 15th time. Why do I keep saying it? Please subscribe. I make videos somewhat frequently, and doing so, subscribing, not only impresses your smoking Italian wife, but it also makes you a true duelist. And that's real.